You ready? Now we're ready. Good afternoon. I'd like to call this Quality of Life and Public Safety Council Committee meeting to order. You have our Majority Leader, Councilman Jimmy Sanchez, present, as well as myself, Councilman T.J. Clark. And we're going to move swiftly because we have our council meeting that's starting at 6 o'clock. So we're going to have a communication from Mayor Bronin with accompanying resolution authorizing the city to accept a Justice Assistance Grant, JAG, in the amount of $190,809 from the United States Department of Justice. Do we have anybody from the mayor's office here present? Okay.
Thank you, Councilman Clark, Majority Leader. On behalf of the city, I'm here to answer whatever questions you may have with regard to the FY19 Justice Assistance Grant provided to the city of Hartford by the Department of Justice. My name is Ryan Pierce. I'm the project manager for strategic initiatives based out of the Office of Central Grants Administration here at the city. The JAG grant, in summary, is a reoccurring formula grant that the city receives from the Department of Justice. The funding level is set by formula administered by the DOJ based on population as well as crime statistics. In this particular year, the city requested and received about $190,809 that, as I understand it, the department intends to use primarily to cover overtime staffing costs for the police department so that they can quickly resolve criminal incidents in the community. The timing of this grant is such that we'll have several years to draw down the funds. The FY18 award is good from September 1st, 2017 through, October 1st, 2017 through September 30th, 2021. The city, you should note, also submitted and intends to receive a grant for FY19. That grant was submitted in August of 2019. We think we'll hear about it any day now. That grant will run from October 1st, 2018 through September 30th, 2022. And then one final note on naming. It's a little confusing because the Department of Justice uses the fiscal year that it received money from Congress to pay for these funds, which is why it's called the FY19 JAG grant, because it's using FY19 federal dollars for these funds. At this time, I'm happy to take any additional questions you may have.
What's the max amount that the city was able to apply for?
The max amount is set by formula. It's $190,800.
Okay, so this is the max. What about the previous year that we have not spent?
The previous year, the FY17 award was for $189,000. We've drawn down all but about $34,000 of those funds. So again, we have several years to spend those. We'll be drawing those down as we now plan to receive and expend these funds.
Now, what is the process for drawing down these funds to cover overtime?
The department submits reimbursement requests through the Department of Justice portal. Actually, Lieutenant Ray, I believe, is here, and he and his staff may be able to address more specific questions on how they draw down the funds.
Okay. Lieutenant?
Yes, so the JAG grant is specifically to target gun violence. So we have a separate payroll code for those types of operations when we do use that money. So basically, whenever we decide to do an operation specifically to target gun violence, using generally toward that, we use that payroll code, and then it gets audited every quarter. Our fiscal manager gets audited every quarter to spend those funds, as well as our house activity and what we've done with those funds.
Okay. Do we ever overspend what we're able to draw down, or?
No, we keep very close track of what we're almost.
Okay. Councilman?
So this is to draw down government to which department?
This grant is used by the VIN Division, Vice Intelligence and Narcotics Division.
And is it solely for gun violence, or is it also used for checkpoints for DWIC?
No, this particular grant from the DOJ is specifically for gun violence.
Okay. And then going back to you, Ryan, 2017, so we received $189,000, which was $34,000.
$34,000 remains. My apologies.
$34,000 remains.
Those funds we have through September 30th of 2020, so we have a little bit, we have another year to spend.
Definitely we use that.
Yeah.
And how successful was the, what is it, gun buyout? What else?
The gun buyback is something separate from
It's
this.
separate,
Yeah.
not part of it.
Yep, nope, that's completely separate.
All right. Okay.
Make a motion to accept this communication with favorable recommendation to the council for full vote.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any comments? Ayes have it. Item is passed.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Communication number 2 from Mayor Bronin with accompanying resolution authorizing the city to accept the donation of Searchy Cyano Safe Filtered Cyanocrylate Fuming Chamber from the University of Connecticut Police Department. Lieutenant Ray? That was a mouthful. Anybody from the administration to present?
Which item number is this?
Item number 2, the company resolution authorizing the city to accept a donation, a fuming chamber from the University of Connecticut Police Department.
Searchy cyano safe filter cyanocrylate.
Yeah, I was not gonna go and pronounce that again.
That's your fingerprints.
It's for fingerprints.
Yeah.
I was not prepared to speak on that, but if you have any questions, I'll get the answers for you.
I think I had enough information from Chief Medina and Thodey. I'm not sure if you had a conversation with them already
No, I would like more information about it.
for fingerprinting purposes. You want to postpone it?
Is this time sensitive?
We'll have to get back to that. I'll get the answers for you.
All right, so we will skip this one and go to item number 3. Hopefully, by that time, we can circle back before we end the meeting to go over this item. Moving on, communication number 3, communication from Mayor Bronin with accompanying resolution adopting the city's new community risk assessment standards of cover, CRA, SOC, recently finalized and approved by the Hartford Fire Department. Chief Freeman.
Good afternoon, Mr. Councilman and other members of Court of Common Council. This document is part of the Fire Department's accreditation pursuits. This is actually the last major component of us pursuing international accreditation. It is a 235-page, very comprehensive document with 10 main categories. These 10 main categories are the description of the community served, history of the agency, current descriptions of levels of service with delivery programs, current deployment and coverage areas, summary of community response history, community priorities, expectations, and performance goals, community risk assessment and risk levels, historical perspective and summary of system performance, evaluation of service delivery, performance maintenance and improvement plans, and last but not least, the appendices. This document was done solely by members of the Hartford Fire Department over a period of approximately 12 months. They worked very tirelessly to get this completed, and once we are successfully accredited, which we hope is going to be March 3rd of 2020, we will be the first department in the state of Connecticut accredited and the first department in all of New England to have a Class 1 designation as well as an international accreditation from CPSC. And at this time, I'd be more than happy to take any questions.
What's the reviewing process regarding the accreditation?
Review process?
Yes.
What's going to happen, Mr. Councilman, sometime next month, we are tentatively looking at the 3rd week of November. A peer review team will travel here to Hartford that's going to be comprised of 3 to 5 individuals, fire service professionals from across the country. They are going to look at all of everything that we have claimed in this community risk assessment. The standards are covered. They're going to look at the actual hard copies. They're going to talk to members of the department. They may even speak to one of or several of you in the Court of Common Council. They will sit down with the mayor, and they're going to, in essence, validate everything that we have written down in this 235-page document. From there, once they give a favorable recommendation to CFAI, the Commission on Fire Accreditation International, we will go to Orlando, sit before the commission for a hearing, and that's tentatively scheduled for March 3rd, being that we successfully complete our peer assessor review.
How many of your, within the fire department, how many people had collaborated and worked on this?
Out of roughly 356 members, at some point or another, I would say easily 25, 26 individuals played a part in creating this document.
Now, with the accreditation of this sort, would that help with decreasing the insurance rates in the city?
No, sir, that's totally separate. Good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah.
The city already enjoys the best possible rating it can possibly get from the Insurance Services Office as a Class 1 designation. We have taken steps, however, to go above and beyond by partnering with ISO, and we are the second city in the United States to invite them in to look at sprinkler systems in a more in-depth detail. The city of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, was the first city in the country to do this last year, and we are still waiting on the results from them assessing our fire sprinkler systems at approximately 186 of our buildings strategically located throughout the city. So once we get that feedback, insurance premiums for those residents may go down even further, residents and business owners.
Okay. I don't have any further questions.
No, that's all my questions.
Chair will entertain the motion for favorable recommendation.
Motion to send to council with a favorable recommendation.
It's been motioned and properly second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. The item is now moved to the next council meeting for favorable recommendation. Going back to item number 2. Sorry, Lieutenant Ray.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So without having to pronounce what that is again. Basically, that's a piece of equipment that we already have. Yukon has a newer version of it. Ours is pretty antiquated, but to put it shortly, it's a super glue fumer. It's what we use. You put a piece of evidence in there, it fumes it, and then we could tell if there's fingerprints on it. So it's basically what we use to get fingerprints off of things. It's just a newer version of it. Yukon has no use for it, so they offered it to us.
Do you know how long it's been in use? How old is the system?
I don't know how old theirs is. Ours is very old.
Okay.
Sorry, I have a question. So the fume, is it more or less like an etching? It etches the fingerprint onto whatever it's attached to?
It'll put something over the fingerprint that you could peel off, so you could run the fingerprint for identification. There's no cost associated with there's no licensing fees or anything. The only maintenance costs are air filters that we're already paying for the old version.
Is it environmentally friendly?
As far as I know, it's up to all code, yes.
Any questions?
I have questions.
Yes, Councilwoman.
So bear with me. So the procedure now when you do fingerprint is the dust and then you gotta get the fingerprint removed, correct?
It depends on the item,
On the item?
yeah.
Okay.
So the fingerprint could be used for a tabletop or something like that, but let's say it's a different item, we could use the super glue fumer. It's more accurate, it's better than the dust.
So in your opinion, would we provide more services when there are crimes in the city that people request for fingerprints and because of not enough officers or the department is not fully capable of doing that? Would you say now that based on this equipment, we can do a little bit more fingerprinting?
I don't know if it'll increase the number that we could do, but it's just a newer version of what we're already doing, so it's more efficient. But as far as increasing the workload, I don't think it changes dramatically. It's just a newer version of something we already have. So it basically would eliminate costs of us having to get this newer version in the future.
So when you say it's more efficient, it cuts back on time as far as,
I think it's just newer technology that's, you know, ours hasn't been updated in quite a bit of time.
so but with this new equipment, we can do more fingerprinting than
I would have to get back to you to know the difference in timing. I don't work within the crime scene division, but I could look that up for you.
So really, it's not new equipment, it's equipment that you already have, but a updated version?
Yeah, it's a newer version of it. Ours is old.
Thank you. So I'd like to make a motion, send to council with a favorable recommendation.
second.
It's been properly motion and second for favorable recommendation to the next council meeting. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There is none. Any discussion? There is none. The ayes have it. Thank you very much, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
And since we have no other items to discuss, this council committee meeting of quality of life and public safety is now adjourned.
That's quick, I think that's a record.
That's a record.